Paul George makes $20.1 million now. Here's the problem. He's eligible to make about $30 million, right? And he's eligible for a 4-year deal if he goes somewhere else. He's eligible for a 5-year deal if he stays in Oklahoma City. So maybe he's willing to pass up on that extra year to go somewhere else. But why does he delay, especially someone who had a catastrophic injury?
Yeah.
Why does he say, okay, I'm not going to sign a contract starting at $30 million for 4 years, so at least over 120, 130. I haven't run the exact math on that, but a nice sized contract. No, I'll take $20 million and then I'll sign again at a later date. 7, 8, you can. It just doesn't make sense. No. It's not like he jumps to the max, the top tier too. It's not like he jumps from the Paul George max to the LeBron max by waiting a year. He has to wait 2 years, right? After this season, he'll have 8 years of service. 1 more year, he'll have 9. He'll need 1 more year to be able to jump up. So,
well, I guess between the two cases, in LeBron's case, it makes more sense to opt in because he would be making more money anyway, number one. And you could also throw in maybe the factor that, he has some sense of fealty to Cleveland. If he's going to leave, he would rather not leave than barren, I guess. So maybe he feels, from a legacy perspective, better to get something than nothing. Whereas Paul George would be leaving a lot of money on the table to not take a new deal this summer. And he's been in OKC for 1 season, so it's not like he has these like deep ties and deep roots to the organization. So as we said, like Paul George and at that money, I feel like he needs to opt out so that he can get compensated and on a long-term deal. I don't know. In the case of LeBron, we've seen that he's willing to take short-term deals. I don't know what he's planning on doing now. Whether maybe he wants a 4-year deal somewhere else. Maybe he wants a 5-year deal to stay in Cleveland. But historically, he's gone with shorter deals. And I don't think the extra $200,000 is why he opts in. Right.
But I will say on the LeBron side, like he and Chris Paul it's not like a minor thing. Like they're in business together, managing and running the union. Like they, especially Chris Paul, is very passionate about his leadership role. And LeBron is as well. I don't have as much experience interacting. I've interacted with Chris Paul more on this front, but I know that like LeBron is well aware of what Chris Paul did to go to Houston. And he has more flexibility to go to places that don't have cap room if he opts in, if there's a trade. So people make the list and they say the Lakers, the Rockets, the Sixers and the Cavs. That's like the main 4 lists. And there was some speculation, the Warriors earlier, that sort of faded. So that it's really possible that you can add to that almost any other team if he opts in and there's a trade that's able to work. I don't know if it's fealty. I feel like at this point, I don't think he has any love lost for Dan Gilbert.
Sure.
David Griffin isn't there anymore. Whatever loyalty he has to Kobe Altman, I think is probably less than he would have had to David Griffin. And so it might
more in terms of the city of Cleveland.
True,
right?
But he's already achieved what he set out to do. He gave them a championship. That's something they never had before, and he'll always have that legacy. And from here, they're going to have to rebuild. I don't know if there's anything. I feel like he'll make the decision that's best for him here, and opting in might be what's best for him because then he doesn't have to just go to those teams. And to go to the Rockets, it really doesn't make sense for the Rockets to go into the Cavs. So really, even though they can get to about $20 million, that's without Chris Paul, without Capella. So they really need that. And a sign-in trade is very complicated because if you do a sign-in trade, if he opts out in sign-in trades, the team that gets him now has a hard cap. So it's really best for him to opt in. It's not best for Paul George because he doesn't get as much money, but maybe he also would rather, like if the Lakers could pay Paul George $20 million, that opens up $10 million less, right? And then the next year they can sign him for whatever they want. So, I mean, you would be able to keep Randall. You'd be able to do a lot of different things if you can get Paul George via trade. Again, that involves the Thunder accepting that. And it's the same thing with Chris Paul. Like, he forced it with the Clippers. The best thing that they got out of that was Lou Williams, right? And they got a bunch of Montrezl Harrell. Like they got they got a really nice bounty, but they didn't get anywhere on close to a Chris Paul. So when there's no leverage, there is no leverage. Like he can all Paul George has to say is I'm leaving or trade me here. But the thing is, all these decisions on the option, they happen in June before the end of July. And any free agency negotiation happens in July. So
in theory,
what happened with Chris Paul, he prearranged something with Houston, which was basically not legal. And then the Clippers could have cried tampering and tried to fight it, but they didn't. And that's that, right? These gentlemen, Paul George, LeBron James, need to do the same. They need to make sure and I really think their agents are willing to do that. The teams are willing to do that. Someone like Mitch Kupchak may be less willing, who's more of a conservative GM. But I think Rob and Magic have shown they're willing to skate the line a little bit, pass the line a little bit.
Yeah. Hiring? Every business needs great people and a better way to find them. Something better than posting your job online and just praying for the right people to see it.
ZipRecruiter knew there was a smarter way, so they built a platform that finds the right job candidates for you.
ZipRecruiter learns what you're looking for, identifies people with the right experience, and invites them to apply to your job.
These invitations have revolutionized how you find your next hire.
In fact, 80% of employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site in just one day.
And ZipRecruiter doesn't stop there. They even spotlight the strongest applications you receive, so you never miss a great match.
The right candidates are out there. ZipRecruiter is how you find them.
Businesses of all sizes trust ZipRecruiter for their hiring needs.
Right now, our listeners can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free.
Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/LAEJ. That's ZipRecruiter.com/LAEJ. ZipRecruiter.com/LAEJ.
ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.